welcome to episode 11 of the Choosing for Today show. And today we're going to talk about what do you do when you're feeling lost. So yesterday I was in this very position myself. So I was feeling quite lost. I didn't really know what to do with myself. I didn't really know what to do with my business, what direction I should be going in. I've got all these great projects going on at the moment, and I've been working away behind the scenes at lots of like different aspects of them, and like really going into them and loving it and having a great time. And hi Helen, thanks for joining. And really getting into all the projects I've been, I'm creating. And then yesterday it all just seemed to go flat, and I just felt lost. It was so bizarre. I would like look at, oh, this project, oh, look at that project. I didn't know what to do with them or with myself. And so I thought, hey, why not use that as a as something to chat to you about? If that's something that you've had come up, and if it does come up, what the hell do you do with it? What do you do about it? How do you get out of it? Yeah, so the very, 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 very first thing is to ask, who does it belong to? So yeah, so one of the things I wanted to share with you on this episode is 5 tips to help you get out of it, and so help you find your way again if you find yourself in the help, I'm feeling lost kind of thing. 5 tips to help you find your way out again, so that you can feel you have more control in your life. So even when like there's loads of things going on outside of your control, that you still have that core control, and you feel that you are equipped to handle whatever life throws at you. So that's what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. So tip number 1, who does it belong to? We are enormously psychic beings. We are aware of so many thoughts and feelings of so many people around us, whether they're in our immediate vicinity, like location or physical location, or whether they're like further away and we're just like tuning in to other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions. So the very first thing when you're feeling lost or any yucky kind of ask, who does it belong to? And you don't need to answer that. You don't need to have to know, oh, that was my mother's when I was 7 years old. You don't need to know any of that. And if that who does it belong to ties you up because you're like, I don't know who it belongs to, you can always ask, is this mine? And if the situation feels any lighter, then if it lightens up in any way, or if it feels less in any way, if it just like, then you know that it's not yours, and then you can let it go, and that gives you more space to move on from there. So that's tip number 1. Who does it belong to? And then tip number 2 is, are you making yourself wrong? So when I'm feeling lost, often it's because there's a whole like dialogue going on in my head, and I've found this has been true for clients as well, that when they're feeling lost, they've got a dialogue of abuse going on in their head, stuff like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, oh, you're so stupid, oh, why can't you figure this out, oh, you think you're so clever but you don't know. All of this like negative dialogue going on all like the monkey mind in the head. So the first tip, who does that belong to, can be a great one to quieten those voices and send them back to wherever they came from with ease and joy and glory. So that's tip number one. And then tip number two is, are you making yourself wrong? So all those voices, it's like, oh, you're so wrong, you should have done this, or you should have done that, or you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that. All of that, that means, you know, you're wrong, you're bad, you're terrible, you're wrong. So that's the British Sign Language sign for wrong. It was Deaf Awareness Week last week, so apparently my sign language is coming out. You're wrong. So are you making yourself wrong, and could you be kinder to yourself? Because when we make ourselves wrong, it's a real unkindness to ourselves. And there's a whole episode that could be said about right and wrong. And when we are trying so hard to get everything right and so hard not to be wrong, we are locking ourselves up and confining ourselves and restricting ourselves. And if you allow yourself the space of not having to get every single thing right, getting out of that perfection, which is, there's no such thing as perfection. So you can never win when you're trying to get everything right. There is no such thing as perfection, as always being right. So if you're willing to just let that go, and if you're not trying to get everything right, then you can't be wrong. So what if you weren't making yourself wrong? What if you allowed yourself the freedom and the space to be wrong, and without making that a significant thing? It's like, okay, so what if there's no right? What if there's no wrong? What else could you choose? What space could that create for you? So let go of making yourself wrong. That's tip number two. And tip number three is take action. You know, sometimes it's like feeling lost and not knowing what's the next thing to do. It can feel so like physically stop us in our tracks and stop us from taking action. So take action, any kind of action, even if that action is to go and make a cup of tea. You know, take some kind of action, even if that action is to stand up if you're sitting down, because your physicality can change your space, change your state, and change the way you feel. So move, take some kind of action. And so yesterday, when I was like, stuck in the funk of like just feeling so lost and not knowing what I should do first, or what I should be doing and what life's all about, just feeling like completely lost, I took action. So I emptied 2 boxes. So so I find like tidying up and clearing stuff out as to be a really therapeutic kind of action. That's action that helps me, because then it just lets go of the monkey mind. It keeps me physically occupied and kind of mentally distracted. So I'm not, doing all the monkey mind of like, oh, you've got it wrong again, oh, you should have this, or all of that. That's a way of letting all of that go. And to actually take some action that has some benefit in itself. I find that really helpful. So like clearing out a cupboard, or even not just something smaller. So clearing out a drawer, perhaps I found I've always got boxes to empty. So I emptied 2 boxes yesterday. I was like, wow, that is such a gift. Emptied 2 boxes, and in the emptying of the boxes, I allow my mind to just float and go. And then when we allow our minds to the space without the monkey mind, without trying to think things through, without trying to think things out, it opens the space for something different. So our thinking, when we're stuck in the thinking and the trying to think our way out of a problem or think our way through a situation, um, our 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 thoughts, we're limited to our experience and what's already happened, and what our education and all of that kind of thing, events that have already happened. We're limited to the past, basically. And when we let go of thinking, we open the space for our knowing to come in, what we already know, our intuition, our inner knowing, our inner guidance. However you language that, you're opening the space for that when you let go of thinking. So taking action is a great way that I find to let go of the thinking and open the space for your knowing to come through. Because often you know the answer, you know the next step. You're not actually lost. You know the way you need to go, and yet you've not acknowledged it, or there's something fuzzy there, there's some kind of judgment or whatever. So letting go of the thinking and getting into your knowing, take action. So other actions that I like to take are just simple actions that need to be done. So I love to do like household actions as well, like doing the washing up, because it's something that's occupying you physically, and yet there's space for your knowing to come in, to let go of the thinking and knowing come in, and doing washing, or that kind of thing, tidying, clearing little bits, cleaning stuff that in the action in itself is something that's going to move you forward in one area of your life. You might have a clean bathroom at the end of it, or you might have your washing up done, or in my case I had 2 boxes emptied and that was exciting for me. And it allowed me space to just get out of the, oh, you're so wrong for feeling so lost, and just do something. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is you don't have to have all the answers. What if you didn't have to have the answers? Hi Lisa, thanks for joining. So what if you could allow, answers are something that locks us down and restricts us. If you got the answer, it's closed. Whereas if we're willing to be in a space where we don't need to know it all, we don't need to have the answers. We can allow our knowing, as I said in the last one, allow our awareness to come through, and to be able to follow that. Hi Sabine, thanks for joining. Allowing, so answers lock us down and close us off and restrict us to that one answer. Whereas if we are open to the possibilities of our knowing coming through, and then it maybe we'll have an answer, maybe we'll have some answers. It opens up different possibilities. And what I found is there's never just one answer. There's never just one choice that we could make. There could be lots of different possibilities. So let go of having to be right and having to get the right answer that locks us down and closes us up. That's tip number 4. And tip number 5, which flows on quite nicely from that, is questions. Ask a question. Questions open up the possibilities, and questions open up the space for something different to come in. They open up the space for more choice and for more possibilities, and for stuff that maybe you didn't realize was a possibility before that. Maybe you've been in that space of being lost. It's like, okay, questions open up the possibilities for a path to reveal itself to you. It's like, oh, this path is is sparkly and enticing and inviting, and that lets go of that lost feeling, and you become more clear about which path to go on. And questions, they could be anything from, particularly when you're making yourself wrong, and you're like, oh, I'm so stupid to feel so lost. A question for that might be, what's right about this I'm not getting? Oh, thanks for the lovely hearts and the fun faces. What's right about me that I've not allowed myself to acknowledge yet? So what's right about this situation? The lostness, sometimes when we it seems like we're lost, we make a discovery that we wouldn't have made if we had been following a linear path that we thought was the right way to go. So what's right about this? What's right about me? They're great questions to ask. Even if your monkey mind then goes, oh, there's nothing right about this, there's nothing right about you. It's like, okay, just open. You're not looking for an answer to close yourself down and keep yourself in wrongness. You're using questions to open up different possibilities. What is right about this? And just allow yourself to play with it and get really curious about it. So yesterday, with my feeling of lostness, what was right about it was I got to empty 2 boxes, creating more space in my office, which, and also I found in the, I'm looking up at where I put the books. So in one of the boxes were some wonderful books that I'd forgotten about, and that I'm looking up at them to see if there's any, which one was particularly relevant. Oh, it's not jumping. Yeah, it's not really relevant, maybe, but it's my cookbook. This book my mum gave to me on my 18th birthday, Step by Step Cookery with Marguerite Patton, and as you can see, it's a well-loved, well-used cookbook. And I don't know about you, but in these lockdown times, a lot of people have been talking more about cooking and experimenting and playing more with cooking. And my husband John has, even though he's still going to work full time, that's still going to his work that he's always done. He started to like play more with cooking. He enjoys cooking, and yesterday we were talking about a recipe, like cakes, and there's some great cake recipes in there, and I couldn't think of them. So this was before I did the clearing out. So I found the cookbook, which is the solution to some of the cake recipes which Johnny might well be making me. Yummy. So yeah, so that was fun, and I've gone off in a tangent now. So yeah, that was right about me emptying the boxes, because I wouldn't have emptied the boxes if I hadn't been feeling so lost yesterday. So yeah, it never shows up the way we think it will, and when you're willing to be that space of possibilities, that space of question, that space of like, well, what is right about this that I hadn't realized? What is right about this that I'm just not getting? And just allow yourself to get curious and play with it. So that's the hidden secret number 6 that I didn't mention. Play with it. Allow yourself to have fun. It's like, what fun could you have being lost? Have that feeling of being lost. What fun could you have finding your way out of it? What fun could you have with the questions, with finding different tools and the actions that you could take that I mentioned in I think that was tip number 3. Take action. What fun could you have with taking different actions that you might not have taken before? So other questions are, going back to tip number 6, what else is possible? The core question of access consciousness. What else is possible here that I haven't even considered? What else is possible is a great question. And how does it get any better than this? Another fabulous question from Access Consciousness. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than feeling lost and frustrated? How does it get any better than that? What else could be more fun? So ask some questions that open up different possibilities, and what fun could you have with it? And before you, well, what I found and what you could find too is before you even realize you're out of that lost situation, you're having more fun, and you're onto something else. And another great question, which I'll leave you with, is what next? What next? What next? You know, even if you're feeling lost, what next? What else is possible? What next? What else could I do, choose, or be? That would be more fun than feeling lost. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me, Umesh. Oh, lovely. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions or have any comments, then I would love to hear them. And if you have any subjects you'd like me to cover in one of these weekly shows, I'm going to I'll be here live every Wednesday, 1 p.m. British summertime, UK time. And yeah, what else is possible? So bye for now.